I am LaMarsha Lewis. Let's talk. Today is Thursday, January the 7th, 2021. We are 7 days into the new year of 2021. In today's commentary, we're going to talk about what took place on yesterday, Wednesday, January the 6th, 2021, in our nation's capital of the United States of America. On yesterday, something that we could have never imagined. Is it surprising? No. Actually, it was predictable because we're referring to Donald J. Trump, the sitting president of the United States, who currently now has 13 days left to his presidency, actually orchestrated, directed his base, white supremacists, domestic terrorists to go to our nation's capital of the United States of America, Washington, D.C., where he knew the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence, and fellow public government officials were to be doing the business of the certification for the President-elect Joe Biden to do the certification for his presidency and for the next term of the President of the United States. But because of Trump not being willing to face reality, to face his truth, he continued to spew his lies. He continued to say it was a rigged election. He continued to say it was a fraud election. And he has been doing this since November the 7th, 2020, when we learned that it was Joe Biden who won the 2020 presidency. Trump has been doing everything he can to overturn the will of the American people. But it really took root yesterday at our nation's capital. We had people storming through our nation's capital, the people's house of the United States of America. And again, this was all under the direction of the sitting president, Trump, Donald J. Trump. Trump's stain cannot be removed from history. Our nation is hurting. We are in dark, darkest times, but there is hope and there is still light at the end and the brink of the day. The Word of God says, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. He didn't say it wouldn't form, but he did say it wouldn't prosper. They tried to stop the certification. They tried to overturn the will of the people. But after all took place, once things had gotten back in control, because if you go on any social media platform, if you simply Google, you turn on your television, you can see, because that's what's been topic since yesterday. We should have been celebrating the win in Georgia with the two Democrat candidates that won their Senate races. Pastor Raphael Warnock won against Kelly Loeffler, and John Ossoff won against David Perdue. That should have been the trending story for yesterday, but instead we got a mockery that took place at our nation's capital, and it was all because of the sitting president, Donald J. Trump. He allowed people to go in and storm our nation's capital. They ransacked desks. It's a picture of a gentleman with his foot disrespecting Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's personal office there in our nation's capital. It's a picture of him where he was sitting in her chair, where they were actually doing the certification, where when the president address is done, you had these people in there as if it was their house. They was roaming the hallways as if it was theirs. And guess what? There were policemen seen taking pictures, taking selfies with these people, these thugs, these disrespectful people, these domestic terrorists. Donald J. Trump needs to be removed from office. There's no ands, ifs, buts about it. He needs to be removed. He has no respect for the rule of law. He has no respect to our United States Constitution. He has no respect for democracy. But this is not only on Donald J. Trump. Please don't get that wrong. It's also on every Republican senator, GOP, because for the past 4 years, they have chosen to turn a blind eye, a deaf ear to his evilness, to his corruption, and all the things that they know a president should not do. But because of their own personal greed, their own personal agenda that outweighed doing the right thing by holding him accountable and not allowing him to do the things that he has done, so much that he's even done what took place yesterday. He knew they was there to do the certification. In fact, he told the people to go. He had a rally earlier that day. He spoke, his son spoke, his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, spoke. And he told them, go, have your voice heard. Go protest. Go overturn. Don't let them do the certification. And they followed up. Again, this is not a surprise to me. And it's not a surprise to many other people, as many have already pointed out. It was predicted. It was bound to happen. It was only a matter of time, but no one saw it coming in the magnitude into this type of just where it's almost no words, because it was just so overwhelming to see in real time, real reality, people busting windows, storming through the nation's capital, ransacking desks, a man coming out holding up mail that is not his, putting up flags, taking down our United States flag to put up a Trump flag saying Trump is our president. It was total disrespect. And again, Trump must be held accountable. It's seeming as if they still want to just continue to have a blind eye. They know it's wrong. If this had been anyone else, if this had been Obama, if this per se had been Biden, Clinton, I don't care whom. If this had been any other president, no way they would have allowed him to still be president. They would have acted that day, yesterday. They would have been there for however long it would take. They was there to wee hours of the morning doing the actual certification. They would have made sure that they would have started either impeachment proceeding, or they would have immediately invoked to do the 25th Amendment. And the Vice President, Mike Pence, and many are calling on him to do that. In fact, the Speaker of the House, Madam Nancy Pelosi, did that today. The Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has done that for Mike Pence to do his job and invoke the 25th Amendment, because Donald J. Trump is completely out of control. It's not new that he's a monster. It's not new that he doesn't have any regard or any concern for anyone other than himself and maybe his daughter Ivanka. This has all been a personal game, because this little man refuses to accept reality. But again, you can't put it all on him, because if the Republican Party, GOP senators and representatives had never placated, entertained his spewing of lies, of falseness, untruth, and if they would have just told the truth, if they would have had spines instead of being cowards and spineless, and stood up to this little bully of a man and said, well, Mr. President, as bad as we hate it, we did not get a second term. You were not elected by the American people for a second term to be the President of the United States. But no, they placated. You even had people that still did not approve the certification. In fact, the woman, Cindy Hyde Smith, senator from Mississippi, my home state, the woman that would sit front row at a public hanging, she voted to overturn the will of the people. That will not be forgotten. That will not be cleaned up. There's no way to clean it up, especially when this is coming from a woman that says she would sit front row at a public hanging. That stain is forever on her. But the Republicans have emboldened him. They've emboldened his racism. They've emboldened his hatred, his prejudice, his evilness, his corruption, all of the things that should not have ever gone on in the presidency of the United States, they have done. Again, it was all because they had their own personal agenda in front of what was supposed to be important. One, our Constitution, our democracy. Simply human being kind. Human being doing the right thing, being respectful. We've never had the things we are experiencing or have experienced through and by and with Donald J. Trump. And this is at the hands of the Republican Party. Mitch McConnell was so, his only motive, his only agenda was to get as many conservatives on the bench of the Supreme Court that he turned a blind eye, a deaf ear. And Lindsey Graham, he sold his soul to the devil. And all those other Republicans, they had their own agenda. One, to gain more power, greed, money, prestige, power. You got that Josh Hawley, who was the orchestrator of overturning the electors because he's supposedly trying to prepare for a 2024 presidential run. I hope that doesn't happen. Because you, as Senator Mitt Romney said from Utah, just tell the truth. What happened to telling the truth? What happened to decency? What happened to integrity, ethics, morals, value? The Republican Party is supposed to be a party of values, family values. I'm not seeing that exemplified in no shape, form, or fashion. When you sit back and allow a man like Donald J. Trump to do the things he has done, but he took it to a whole different level on yesterday, January the 6th, 2021, when he instructed, directed his base, white supremacist domestic terrorists, to go to our nation's capital, knowing all the men and women. You had the vice president, you had United States senators, you had United States representatives, as well as staffers, people that work at the White House, and many innocent bystanders. A woman was killed yesterday. In fact, it has been reported that 4 people was killed, died from the act that took place yesterday at our nation's capital, that's on the hands of Donald J. Trump and the Republican Party. You cannot live that down. You cannot outlive that. You cannot. I'm going to play the clip that this man said. We will come back and we're going to talk about it. But first, let me play this clip. Because he was pressed. President-elect Joe Biden had did a briefing, as he normally do, pretty much every day or every other day. And it was he that pressed Trump to come to give a speech to these people, to tell them to get out of our nation's capital, to denounce this. But let me start the clip.
We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
Now this is what the president said. Go home in peace to people that had just destroyed our nation's capital at his command. Go home in peace. We love you. You're special people. What the hell? Really? But this is the same man, let's not forget, that said it was very fine people on both sides when that demonstration took place in Charlottesville. Donald J. Trump. We love you. You're special people. There was fine people on both sides. Donald J. Trump. This is the same man that gave this initial code when he and Joe Biden did that first debate that was despicable, horrible, appalling. When he told the Proud Boys, when he was asked to denounce white supremacists, he said, stand back, stand by. That was the initial code given for what took place on yesterday at our nation's capital. Because the day after him saying that at the debate, stand back, stand by, one of the Proud Boys members said, Mr. President, we are standing back, we are standing by. And they've been doing it ever since. In fact, they have been planning this to go to the Capitol to try to overturn or coerce the vice president not to certify the will of the American people. I have said it once, I will say it again, and again, many times as needed. You cannot overturn the will of the American people. You cannot overturn the will of the American people. And the audacity to even try, the magnitude of what this man has done is appalling. No way I want someone like that to be the president of the United States. I didn't want you for the 4 years that you have been in. I definitely don't want you another 4 years. No one does. More people spoke at the ballot box this year than in the history of people voting for the presidency. That was said. It was the most voted for election in presidency history. Even outdone President Obama, the first black African American president. And it was the most secure and fair election. But you got this man that has been spewing this lie, this false accusation in his base. And when you run in a cult, and when you got simple-minded, uneducated people, and even some people with degrees, because you look at the Republican Party, buying this crap of a rigged election, a stolen election. But let's be real here. It was not just one person or one category on our balance. It wasn't just for the president. Ain't no way in the HELL hell could that election been have stolen or rigged just from Donald J. Trump. You had Senate races on there. You had different initiatives. I mean, ain't no way he could keep using this false analogy that this election was rigged, that it was stolen. It was not. But then again, people know that. But again, they just refused, one, to do the right thing, to tell the truth, to have integrity. That would mean so much to me, integrity. But everybody's not the same. I believe in having values and more. History is looking at us. History is recording us in real time. And you got the sitting president that has caused a breach to our nation. This hasn't happened since 1844. This has not happened since 1844. This is the first time in the U.S. Capitol has been breached since the British attacked in 1840. If you do the math, that's 207 years ago, centuries ago. But yesterday, January the 6th, 2021, our nation capital was breached. And it was at the instruction of the sitting president, Donald J. Trump. He tried to coerce, he tried to intimidate, he tried every means that he could to get the Vice President, Mike Pence, to overturn the will of the people. Once more, you cannot overturn the will of the people. And Mike Pence knew that. Mike Pence is still trying to do what little he can, but at this point, I think it's over his political career. He's trying to savage his political career because he wants to run 2024 for president. But he knew he didn't have that power. It was just a formality of what had already been put in place by our Constitution, that the electors are certified, that the Vice President is the overseer. He can't overturn what has already been certified by all 50 states from what the will of the people, the American people of these United States, did on November the 3rd, 2020. Donald J. Trump lost the presidential election. He is a one-term president. He is an impeached president. And the stain of what he did on yesterday, Wednesday, January the 6th, 2021, 6 days into the new year of 2021, can never be undone. That stain remains permanently. A woman died. In fact, 4 people died. And this is on the watch of Donald J. Trump and his enablers, Republican Party. He called this coronavirus, this pandemic that we have been in almost a year, he called it a hoax. He downplayed it. He knew about it in January. He tried to conceal it. What he should have been focused on since the election is the increasing large numbers of corona. But no, he's out here spewing lies of a freaking rigged election, a fraud election, when that in itself is a lie. And because of that, our nation's capital was breached. A woman lost her life, and 3 other people lost their life. You had domestic terrorists in our nation's capital at the cause, at the command, at the direction of a sitting United States president. That cannot be undone. Yesterday, after the Senate reconvened to continue to do their duty, to continue to do their job, to do the certification for Biden and Harris, and it was done, and the certification was completed, January the 2021, Inauguration Day, we will have the 46th president to take place, Joe Biden. But Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer quoted where the 32nd president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, said on December the 7th, 1941, when Pearl Harbor had attacked, when Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese, President Roosevelt said, "This will be dated as a day of infamy." Senator Chuck Schumer said, "Now it's unfortunate that January the 6th, 2021 will also now be dated as a day of infamy." This is where we are in the United States of America. That we have now added another dark day to be known as a day of infamy as well. January the 6th, 2021. And this was all at the hands and instructed by the current sitting president of the United States. His daughter tweeted let me read the tweet. She retweeted a tweet that Trump had tweeted, and Trump had tweeted this: "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." Nowhere at all was that peaceful. Ivanka quote, "American patrons, any security breach or disrespect to our law enforcement is unacceptable. The violence must stop immediately. Please stay peaceful." But if they're already being peaceful, why are you telling them to stop the violence? You see the hypocrisy of that? And first of all, let's be clear. They are not patrons. Those people were terrorists. They were not patrons. And to follow up on Princess Nepotism Barbie Ivanka Trump's tweet, you had Kate Bennett, who is a journalist, that she retweeted and said, clarifying, at Ivanka Trump, you're saying these people are patrons? But Nepotism Barbie deleted her tweet. But see, you may have deleted it, but people already had retweeted, and a lot of people screenshot it, so it's still there. Nepotism Barbie. Donald J. Trump needs to be removed from office. That's where the impeachment's proceeding for the second time, even though there is only 13 days left, or the 25th Amendment be invoked, and that's by the Vice President Mike Pence. It was said today when I was listening to the news, a reporter said that she had been told that someone had said, and I know all these journalists have their own sources where they get the news and information that they report to us, the American people, from their various sources. And she said that this source said that they had never seen the Vice President, Mike Pence, as upset as he was yesterday. And that's rightfully so. Like I said, the President of the United States put everybody's life in harm's way, all because he refused to accept the results that he lost a presidential election. But said that Mike Pence, they had never seen him that upset, and said that Mike Pence had said, after all I've done for him, this is how he does me. I don't know if that, I would think that is true. I can see that being true. But I guess Mike really got caught up in his feelings because he knows he's done a lot of dirt for Donald J. Trump. The sucking up, the lying as well, covering him, spewing inaccurate facts, knowingly, intentionally, all to appease, pacify the baby, a grown man is in his 70s. But they said he said, after all I've done for him, this is what he done. This is how he did me. And as a human being, I get it. I get it. Because he has been loyal. That's loyalty. Like it or not, Mike Pence has been loyal to Donald J. Trump. And now he gets to see how it feels to be just an ordinary human being, a real person, when someone betrays you and you've done all that you could do, even sacrificing your own self. Cause he professes to be a Christian, but no way you can be a Christian and you be on the ticket, as Pete Buttigieg pointed out when some of the journalists, reporters from Fox News tried to ask, well, why would all of a sudden Biden and Harris be on the same ticket? He said, well, you can ask the same, why Mike Pence is on a ticket with a man who paid $130,000 to a porn star. See? Mike Pence knows what he has done and all the wrong that he has done. All to remain the Vice President of the United States and stay in the good graces of Donald J. Trump, all while he's wanting to, one, be the president of the United States. And now that their term is coming to end, he's trying to hold on to hope of a run for 2024. That's what that's about. But he got a taste of reality. After all I've done for him, this is what he does to me. Yeah, Mike Pence, how does it feel? You have a moral obligation because you took an oath. And I look back to this past Sunday, January the 3rd, 2021, when all the representatives and all the senators, that was elected to serve in the new administration, the new term for senators and representatives, they toted their Bibles, because of coronavirus, because of the pandemic. It wasn't the normal procedure, one where you would have family members there, your spouse normally would walk up with you, hold the Bible as you raise your right hands and many of them lying on the Bible, the Holy Bible, God's Word. That's what they did this past Sunday, because they raised their right hand, they had their Bibles in their hand, and they promised to defend and protect our Constitution at all means against foreign and domestic. And we had in our own house. It was in our own house. It wasn't outsiders. It wasn't someone in another country, our foreign enemies. Our enemy came from within our own house. The man that has the highest role in our nation, the President of the United States, was the one who is our enemy, that caused our nation to rivet the chaotic, mockery, disrespect, appalling, horrific of domestic white supremacist terrorists on yesterday. It came from our house, the people's house, the American people's house, the United States of America, from our Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump. So now, what will be done? He must be held accountable. Because if you continue to allow this man, yes, he has 13 days left, but if you continue to allow this, he'll never get it. And he still doesn't. Twitter supposedly has banned him. That needs to be indefinite, because it says Instagram and Facebook has banned him indefinitely from having platforms. But his biggest platform is Twitter. So if Twitter doesn't indefinitely take out his account, not let him have an account, he still got a base. He still got a platform. Because he was tweeting yesterday when all that horrificness was going on at our nation's capital. Instead of being there out there in front, speaking to us, the American people, he freaking tweeting, doing what he does best, and spewing his lies. Donald J. Trump must be held accountable. That is owed to us, the American people. That is owed to us by what happened at our nation's capital. That should have never taken place. But this is what he wanted. He wanted a coup. And now he sees that he cannot stop what has transpired from the 2020 election. This was pointed out today. Even though I totally disagree with the outcome of the election and the facts bear me out, nevertheless, there will be an orderly transition on January the 20th. I have always said, and we will continue our fight to ensure that only legal votes were counted. While this represents the end of the greatest first term in presidential history, it's only the beginning of our fight to make America great again. And I don't like giving him that title, president, but it's time President Donald Trump. But where does he get one of the greatest, while this represents the end of the greatest first term. Dude, please. You flatter yourself too much. And you lie to yourself. At some point in time, you're a 70-something-year-old man, 73, 75, I don't know the exact age, but you need to grow up. And everyone else needs to stop pacifying and placating to this despicable man that has left a stain on our United States Capitol that can never, I don't care how much they try to wash it off, get stain remover, clean it up. That's a stain that's indefinite. And it will always be remembered that it came from Donald J. Trump. I am Marsha Lewis. Let's talk.